Stop digging. Every time you drive a spade into the earth and turn over a clod of dirt, you are declaring war on the very ecosystem that is trying to feed your plants. We have been taught for generations that working the soil is a sign of a diligent gardener. We've been told that tilling breaks up compaction, aerates the roots, and prepares a clean slate for our seeds. In nature, nobody is out there with a rototiller. Forests don't need to be plowed to grow massive ancient oaks. Prairies don't need a spade to produce lush, nutrient-dense grasses. Nature builds soil from the top down, not the bottom up. When you dig, you aren't helping the soil. You are shattering a complex biological city that took years to build. You are killing the fungi, crushing the earthworms, and worst of all, you are waking up thousands of dormant weed seeds that would have stayed asleep if you had just left them alone. In this guide, we are going to dismantle the cult of the tiller and introduce you to the no-dig revolution. This isn't just about saving your back, it's about increasing your yields by up to 30% while cutting your weeding time by 90%. This is how you build a climate-resilient garden that survives droughts, floods, and heat waves while producing the most nutrient-dense food of your life. To understand why no-dig works, you have to stop thinking of soil as dirt and start thinking of it as infrastructure. Underneath your feet is a soil food web, a massive invisible network of bacteria, fungi, protozoa, and nematodes. The Mycorrhizal Highway. The most important workers in your garden are mycorrhizal fungi. These fungi attach themselves to your plant roots and act like a high-speed internet cable. They reach out much further than a plant root ever could, bringing back phosphorus, nitrogen, and H2O in exchange for the sugars the plant produces through photosynthesis. When you dig or till, you physically tear these fungal cables apart. The plant then has to spend weeks of energy rebuilding those connections instead of putting that energy into growing cucumbers or tomatoes. No-dig preserves these highways, allowing your plants to plug into a pre-existing nutrient grid the moment they hit the ground. The glomalin glue. Healthy soil has a specific structure called aggregates. These are little crumbs of soil held together by a sticky protein called glomalin, which is produced by fungi. Glomalin is the glue of the earth. It creates tiny air pockets and channels that allow oxygen to reach the roots and water to drain effectively. Tilling acts like an earthquake. It shatters the glomalin bonds, collapses the air pockets, and turns your soil into a fine, structureless powder. The moment it rains, that powder turns into mud. When the sun hits that mud, it bakes into a hard, concrete-like crust. By not digging, you allow the soil glue to keep the earth porous and fluffy naturally. The carbon sponge. Soil organic matter is essentially a sponge. Research shows that for every 1% increase in organic matter, the soil can hold an additional 20,000 gallons of water per acre. Tilling exposes buried organic matter to oxygen, which causes it to burn off as CO2 gas. No-dig traps that carbon in the ground, keeping the moisture where your plants can actually use it during a dry July heat wave. Section 3. The no-dig implementation, the Lasagna Method. If you are starting with a patch of weeds or a boring grass lawn, do not reach for a herbicide or a plow. We are going to use the sheet mulching technique to build a brand new garden bed from scratch. Step 1. The scalp. Mow the area you want to transform as short as possible. You want to scalp the grass or weeds. Leave the clippings right where they fall. That's free nitrogen for your future plants. Step 2. The weed barrier or carbon layer. Cover the entire area with plain, brown, corrugated cardboard. Make sure to remove any plastic tape or staples. Overlap the edges by at least 6 inches so that no sunlight can peek through.
This cardboard acts as a biological reset button. It blocks 100% of the sunlight, which kills the grass and weeds underneath. As the cardboard stays damp, it attracts earthworms. Earthworms love the glue used in cardboard and will migrate to the surface to eat it, aerating your soil with their tunnels as they go. Step 3. The black gold layer, or compost. On top of the cardboard, add to 4 to 6 inches of high-quality, well-rotted compost. This is your growing medium. You aren't planting into the dirt, you are planting into the compost. HBT tip. Don't worry about mixing the compost into the soil below. The rain and the worms will do the mixing for you. Your job is simply to provide the top-down nutrition. Step 4. The finishing touch, mulch. If you are in a very dry climate, add a thin layer of weed-free straw or wood chips on top of the compost. This prevents the compost from drying out and creates a habitat for beneficial predatory insects like ground beetles that eat slugs.
Section 4. Why this ends the weed war. The #1 reason people quit gardening is weeds. No-dig is the only system that actually solves the weed problem rather than just managing it. The seed bank theory. Every square inch of soil contains thousands of dormant weed seeds, the seed bank. These seeds are evolutionary geniuses. They can stay dormant for 50 years, waiting for one thing: light. When you till, you are effectively planting weeds. You bring the seeds from the dark, cold depths of the soil up to the warm, sunny surface. Within 48 hours, they germinate. In a no-dig system, those seeds stay buried in the dark. They never get the signal to wake up. By adding a layer of compost on top, you are putting a lid on the seed bank. The surface wind-blown weeds. Will you still get weeds? Yes, some seeds will blow in on the wind or be dropped by birds. However, because these seeds are landing on loose, fluffy compost rather than hard, compacted dirt, they are incredibly easy to pull. You can clear an entire 50-foot no-dig bed in about 5 minutes with a simple hoe and go motion. Section 5. The economics of yield. Time versus output. Let's look at the numbers. In a traditional dig garden, you spend roughly 60% of your time on maintenance, weeding, tilling, fixing compaction, and only 40% on actual plant care. In a no-dig garden, those numbers flip. Because the soil structure is intact and the weed pressure is low, you spend 90% of your time focused on your plants. This leads to what we call massive garden harvests. Faster turnaround. In a no-dig bed, as soon as you harvest your lettuce, you can immediately poke a hole and plant your next crop. No need to clear, till, or rest the soil. Healthier immunity. Because the mycorrhizal fungi are intact, your plants have a shield against soil-borne diseases. A plant with a strong fungal partner is significantly resistant to root rot and verticillium wilt. Extended season. No-dig soil stays warmer in the winter and cooler in the summer because the mulch acts as insulation. This can give you an extra 2 to 3 weeks of growing time at both ends of the season.
Section 6. Troubleshooting the no-dig transition. Transitioning to no-dig isn't always perfect. Here is how to handle the common hiccups. The slug problem. When you first put down cardboard and compost, you are creating a damp, dark paradise for slugs. In the first year of a no-dig garden, you might see a spike in the slug population. The fix. Don't panic. As the soil biology balances out, predatory beetles and frogs will move in. In the meantime, use the evening board trick. Lay a piece of wood in the garden, and in the morning, flip it over and remove the slugs hiding underneath. Persistent perennials. Some weeds, like bindweed or couch grass, are strong enough to grow through the cardboard. Do not dig them up. If you dig them, every tiny piece of root left behind will turn into a new plant. Instead, simply snap off the green growth at the surface the second it appears. By depriving the root of sunlight, you will eventually starve it to death. It's a game of patience, but you will win. Nature doesn't dig. Respect the top-down architecture of the soil. Protect the fungi. Mycorrhizal networks are your plant's most valuable asset. Use cardboard to smother weeds and invite earthworms. The seed bank. Stop waking up dormant weeds by keeping the soil undisturbed. Yield is effort dependent. Less time weeding means more time for harvesting.
The no-dig method is more than just a gardening technique. It is a shift in philosophy. It is a move away from the idea that humans must conquer the land and a move toward the idea that we are stewards of a living system. When you stop digging, you start observing. You notice the way the soil smells sweet like a forest floor. You notice the explosion of life, the spiders, the worms, and the healthy dark green leaves of your plants. This is the HBT gardening. The less you interfere with the soil's natural wisdom, the more it will reward you with an abundance you never thought possible. Take your shovel and put it in the back of the shed. You won't be needing it anymore. Welcome to the no-dig revolution. Now that your soil is ready, you need to make sure your seeds are actually high quality. In our next guide, we are going to look at the seed viability test. How to tell if those old packets in your drawer are still worth planting, or if they are just going to waste your time. What's the biggest weed nightmare in your garden? Let us know in the comments, and we'll tell you how to smother it the no-dig way. If you're ready to stop working against nature and start working with it, hit the subscribe button for HBT Gardening. We provide the facts, the science, and the climate-resilient strategies you need to feed your family. Check the description for our recommended list of organic compost sources and our no-dig cheat sheet. Keep your soil covered and your harvest heavy. See you in the next one.